Welcome back to the Choose UCalgary Podcast. My name is Arista and I am your host for Season 9. Today we will be talking to Vicky, a life design specialist, Harrison, a career and life design resource specialist, and Ayesha, a co-op student as engagement and program assistant within the Center for Career and Personal Development here at UCalgary. We will talk about their numerous resources and events and how future students can utilize their resources to thrive. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, and that the City of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Districts 5 and 6. The City of Calgary has always been my home, but I'm only a second-generation Canadian on my dad's side, reminding me of how thankful I am for being able to attend school, live, and work on the lands of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda Nations. Which reminds me how important it is to remember that everything done at the University of Calgary campus, including podcast recordings, starts with these lands. Please keep this in mind as you listen to this podcast. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for coming in today. To start off, could you just introduce yourselves and your role within the Center for Career and Personal Development?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Vicky Hirsche. And my job title is a bit of a mouthful. It's Life Design and Work Integrated Learning Specialist. But basically, I help support our Life Design Hub and Life Design Programming, which we'll talk a lot about today, as well as general career development support for students.
My name is Ayesha. I'm the Events and Program Assistant at the CCPD. I've been here since September, and I help out with employer events, their marketing and social media strategies, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. And you're also a co-op student, right?
Yeah.
Hello, listeners. My name's Harrison. I also have a bit of a mouthful of a title. I am the Career and Life Design Resource Specialist with the CCPD.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So just kind of get started here for future students and stuff who don't know what the Center for Career and Personal Development is. What's it kind of intended for, and how does it support students?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a lot going on with the CCPD. So to put it in a nutshell, our goal is to provide career and personal development supports for students. And so that entails quite a few different things. But the basic gist of it, I would say, is, students often, you might be in one of two camps. You might be someone who's like, I know exactly where I'm going. I've known that I want to be a doctor since I was 2 years old and I'm on that path, but I need to know how to get there, or I need help with my interviews or my resume or how to get enough experience for that. And then you might be in the camp that's like, I have no idea what I want to do with my life, and I hear a lot about career and how to develop myself, but I'm not sure how or where to get started. And so we also provide supports with that of where are you going? What do you want out of your career? How do you build that? How do you get ready for that? How to figure out what you want. So that's kind of the high level mission statement of supporting students to feel really ready and prepared for their future. And when we talk about career, it's really holistic. It's your jobs, it's your volunteering, it's your extracurriculars, your clubs, the networking you do, the leadership development you have. So all of those pieces fall into the work that we do.
Yeah, definitely. Did you guys have anything you wanted to add to that at all, or?
You guys also interviewed another portion of the CCPD a few months back with the Food Hub.
Yes.
They're also affiliated with us too. But yeah, I'll keep it to that because listeners can listen to that one for more information.
For sure, yes.
Also just say, to jump back in, we do offer quite a bit around first year supports as well. So we run orientation, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but we do offer some specifically first year focused programming. So yeah, there's a lot going on over there.
Yeah, for sure, which is amazing for future students who are like, I have no clue what's happening coming into university and stuff. I guess kind of leading into kind of those first year development programming and stuff like that. What do future students have to look forward to with this resource being available to them?
So the CCPD provides a lot of workshops for students, whether that's with life design or career development. If you have an interview, how can you prep for an interview? How do you go to a career fair? What do you ask at a career fair? We also host career fairs where we have a bunch of employers come and talk to students just to help students get an idea of what they can look forward to after university as well. So anyone who's coming into U of C has that resource that they can avail as well. And we have a lot of career advising that takes place at the CCPD as well, if you want to add on.
That's a beautiful segue. Just like what Ayesha had said, a big part of the CCPD is that career advising piece. So I really enjoy working with the students on campus, whether they be first years all the way to those working into their PhDs. And having them join us in our workshops, in our one-on-one meetings, you can really see that progression. Or if we're just talking about the first years, it's really awesome to see them take a hold of their life journey. And seeing them just saying, hey, I have no idea what to take at this point in time, or they might have that great plan and idea and they just need a bit of help getting to their goal. So that's a big thing for us, is that, hey, we're just trying to get them to where they need to be as well. Once again, whether that be in the one-on-ones or the workshops, I'm sure I can't speak for everybody, but I'm going to assume that all the advisors that we have here really enjoy that piece.
Yeah, definitely seeing students like take initiative and be really passionate about like their goals, or even just figuring out what their goals are even, right? Like you said. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think in university especially, like it's a really great opportunity to just try different things or push yourself outside your comfort zone. So I feel like that's something I always really appreciate working with students, is like when someone, joined a club or came out to one of our programs and it really impacts them or changes their trajectory. So just being kind of open-minded to where the journey's taking you.
Yeah, for sure. We mentioned stuff for like first year students, which we'll get into in a bit here, but is there anything specifically for like international students, or like do you have anything specifically geared towards international students at all?
100%. I'm an international student, so I can speak to this pretty well. At the CCPD in particular, we have a lot of international student-based workshops that happen where it's basically everything you would need to know information-wise as an international student. If you need a certain permit, or if your study permit's expiring and you need to renew it, where do you go? What do you do? What documents do you need? How much time do you have to fill those things out? How do you find work in Canada as an international student? What are the requirements that you need to do all these things? So I think that's a really important piece of what we offer, because speaking for myself, I can say, like, as an international student, you come here not really knowing much, but then you have these resources that you can avail that really give you everything that you need to know to succeed and make the most of your experience here. So
yeah, for sure. Definitely probably lessens the stress of like being in a new place and then having to figure out all this, like, okay, well, I want to make the most of this. How do I go about that, right?
Exactly.
Did definitely help with that.
Yeah.
Just to add on to that, I want to give a shout out to Liliana Gonzalez. She's our specific international career advisor that we have here at the office. So she's very attuned and well aware of all the needs that our international students have, as well as the barriers that they run into as well. And she's great at navigating all those conversations.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thank you.
I think it creates a really welcoming environment in that, depending on what country you're coming from, she'll kind of get into what are the different norms, like when you're going to an interview in Canada, or you're submitting a resume in Canada, or you're figuring out how to navigate the workplace, and just really opening up those conversations and making it really comfortable to be like, okay, what are the differences between my culture and this culture, and just feeling confident heading into the workplace challenges.
Yeah, definitely. There'd be definitely a lot of small things that would be different for sure. I mean, and big things as well, but sometimes the small things are more challenging, I find as well, even because just like things that you're used to doing back home is something that's not normal here, and you have to kind of learn and navigate those.
Adjust,
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned in your job titles like the life design portion, and you guys also have the life design hub as well, which I believe you hold a lot of programming and events in and stuff. Could you describe kind of what this space is and what it's intended for and everything?
Totally. Maybe I'll just start with life design generally as a concept, because I think we use that a lot. But it comes from Stanford University, actually piloted a lot of this material in their design school and also in a book called Designing Your Life. And so it's really focused specifically at students and has been super well received by university students starting at Stanford and then starting to roll out. So here at UCalgary, we started embracing this programming as well. And basically the idea with it is just to be very intentional with your life planning. And that entails your academic, because, we're in university, we're obviously thinking academics, and that's what's most on everyone's mind. That is very important. But also thinking about your career planning and also your personal. And we really see a lot of students who really resonate with that personal side as well. So it's all programming to help students be very intentional with what do you want out of your life holistically. And that's going to include your degree, but also your volunteering, your clubs, your personal interests, the part-time jobs you do, the side hustles, all of those things. But then also personal goals, like maybe it's really important that you travel and you want to look into study abroad programs while you're on campus, or you have a social cause you're really passionate about and you really want to work on that. So basically, we offer a lot of different workshops and programming to help students work through what do they want out of their university experience and beyond, and getting a little deeper than just that piece of paper or that degree, and thinking about what do you want to have accomplished? What is the meaning of all of this for you? So we have a lot of different tools and activities to help students process that and work on it, and then set really tangible goals and work on them and really make that progress. So that's the programming side. And then in terms of the space, so we're very lucky to have this lovely space in Mac Hall, which is, kind of the heart of campus, and it's the Life Design Hub. And so it's open to students to drop in and use to study and have group meetings, hang out, other than when we are using it to host programming. So we do a lot of workshops in there, a lot of registration programs. So we'll host a lot of the sessions that we talked about in terms of our career workshops and life design workshops. And then when those aren't happening, then it's just a really welcoming, inviting space. So we've really seen it just get busier with students who come to hang out and connect and just really wrestle with these big life challenges. Because, we hear a lot about like the job market being hard and the economy being hard and all of the challenges, and not to discount that those are real, but we really are passionate about providing tools and support to help students feel like they can still tackle things and still make progress and still have meaningful careers and lives. Basically helping to make sense of, you come into university and you're starting to hear about all these different goals you should have, get involved, do this, and we just really want to help and provide some tangible tools to work on that.
To even add on to that list, we realize how important networking is for our students. So not only is it the programming that we do there and that education piece, we hold a lot of different events. So just to name off a couple off the top of my head, just a couple of weeks ago, we had Launch Your Career, which was a excellent workshop series that students could come into and learn how to launch their career after they graduate from the U of C. During that series, we had an opportunity for students to connect with HR professionals from across all of Calgary. The week after that, so just last week, we had the Building Resilient Cities series. And that was focused on the urban studies / architectural students. So within that title, you can already tell that, okay, how do we plan a resilient city? How do we navigate that question? And once again, Shun, our employer specialist, was able to connect with a lot of the employers here in Calgary. And once again, another great opportunity for students to really connect with those players in industry. On top of all that, we've got the info sessions for students to come in and last week or the week before, we had the Calgary Police Service come in. And then, do you remember any of the other employer sessions that we've had?
Yeah, we've had a ton. We've had Amazon come in, Suncor. We have WSP coming in next week, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, we just have on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, we have a ton of information sessions where employers will just come in and talk to students directly about the opportunities that they have for them once they graduate, or even like internships and stuff like that. Just giving students the space to navigate these kind of conversations in a more educational way,
Yeah, for sure. So not only do you have events kind of for like that planning aspect, but you also have like events that students can network and really dive deeper into like careers that they might be interested in, or companies even that they might be interested in. That's amazing.
Yeah. I think that's one of the huge values of the university experience, honestly, is like that opportunity to just try to learn more about what you might be interested in. You might come in and be really confident what you want to do career-wise, but a lot of students aren't, and that's really normal. And so there's a lot of ways to like network, ask questions, find out what do you like, not like, and so just really using it as a testing ground. Yeah,
for sure. University, I find, is definitely a place to test things. Join our email list today to stay up to date on events, insider information, and key updates to help you start your journey to UCalgary. Register at the link in our show notes. Going off of these events, we talked obviously about what kind of events there are, but are these events like free for students, or is there anything associated with them going to these events?
All of our events are free for students. Yeah, come in because there's no reason not to.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, when you graduate from university, suddenly you realize it's like, oh, would you like to pay to meet with a career coach? Like, it's unbelievable how expensive career resources are and all of these opportunities are. So while you're in your degree, really soak it up, make the most of it, almost like set yourself a checklist of like once a week, you're going to attend something or try something just to get the most value out of that experience.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely makes it useful for students who don't have a lot of funds as is, because they're obviously focused on classes and school, and if they want extracurricular or volunteering and stuff like that, it definitely makes it much more accessible for students.
Yeah.
So you have an event called Designing Your UCalgary, like it's a first year seminar. Could you talk a bit about this and how future first year students could take advantage of this to kind of help their transition to UCalgary?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a program we love. It's Designing Your First Year seminar. And so it's a program that has run for the past couple falls, and we will continue with it. And basically it invites first year students to register and be part of a community where we host, it changes year to year, but let's say around 4 meetings, get-togethers. And we cover different topics around how to intentionally set goals for your first year, how to energize your studying. It's a partnership with our Student Success Center, who are amazing specialists in kind of academic support. And so, we talk about how do you use design tools to improve your study habits, and what are kind of the tips and tricks to be really efficient with your studying and your paper writing, as well as just thinking about how do you be very intentional with what you want out of university, and so set some really good goals in terms of getting involved and building your resume. And then going back to what Harrison said, I think really connecting in with that community piece. So it's all first year students and then a few staff members from our area, as well as Student Success Center. You all get to meet other first year students who are going through the same things and who are really keen and interested and, wanting to set these goals and work towards their interest. And I feel like every time the students just finish up just saying that they met so many new friends and learned so much and just felt a lot more confident for their first year. So whether it's that, or really, I think just finding something when you first start that first year, just find something to sign up for. And that's just a good gateway into all of the other amazing things that are on offer as well.
For sure. It's definitely useful to kind of meet other students going through the same thing as you in your first year already.
Totally.
Because it's a very stressful coming to university from high school type thing. So something definitely eases that stress to just know other people are going through it with you, right?
Totally. And depending on your program, like in some programs are smaller, but I know I was in arts and I did a communications degree, and I just felt like it was hard to maybe meet people or connect as easily as you did in high school. And so finding those smaller pockets or coming to a workshop, signing up for a program, I think is a really good option to make sure that you're kind of like forced to meet people.
For sure. Ayesha, you obviously are a student and you're doing your co-op right now.
Yes.
Before you kind of started your co-op and stuff, did you use any of the resources at CCPD like as a student, or have you recently even?
Before I joined or I started working at the CCPD, I had one career advising session when I first got here, because I was like clueless. I'm in political science, so I was like, what can I do with this? Where can I go moving forward? Stuff like that. And then once I actually started working here, I have been like listening in on the workshops, going to workshops, and like was seeing the different ways that I could like interact with university resources. And I have been like talking to advisors like Harrison, like David or Liliana, like just getting as much information as I can to take with me once I do go back to university and graduate, just to make sure that I'm giving myself the best opportunity once I'm done with university. And I feel like students especially, it can be scary to go out and pursue these resources, because it's like, what questions do I ask? Do I even know the right thing to say? But just putting yourself out there and showing the initiative to put your best foot forward and make sure you have the best chance or the best opportunity after you leave university. I feel like that's enough to just push you to access these resources,
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely scary to ask for help sometimes, but it's extremely useful when you do.
Exactly. And it helps you so much. Like, it builds your confidence. It gives you the ability to seek these resources even after you're done with university, so.
Definitely. If any of you had any advice for future students, what would it be?
I see a lot of students, Vicky does too, and I think a big thing that we see constantly from our students is this stress, and that can encompass so many different things. Hey, do I need to finish off my degree as soon as possible? That was a recent question that I got, and to answer that, and this is my personal bias, my personal opinion, of course, but my suggestion for that is like, hey, try to slow down. You don't need to take 6 courses per semester. Take advantage of this wonderful opportunity at being at U of C. But when you're at University of Calgary, there's so many different opportunities available to you. There's so many different ways to connect with people. There's so many different experiences that you can gain, that why rush through all this? So really take your time, get involved so that you have this great opportunity of growth, which will now take you to that next level of finding new work or to your next career. So that's my opinion on that one.
Just to add on to that, I feel like students, when they first get into university, they don't really know the opportunities that they have. But U of C is really good at communicating with students about the different resources and programs that they offer. I feel like students should be open to study abroad programs or co-op programs and stuff like that, where they can really enhance their whole university experience, and not just like, yes, studies are just as important, but it's also about making your experience a little bit more diverse in your extracurriculars, and even like just enhancing your experience completely, where you're trying out different things, because that's what university is for. It's like you said before, where you come in to experience new things. So I think just be open to everything that we have to offer.
Yeah, I think very similar to what you guys said. I think it would be just to really embrace the winding path of university and life. I think so often we really think of like a point A and a point B, like we're registering for university and then we're going to get that piece of paper and walk the stage and that's university. But the journey along the way, in terms of the network you made and the people you connected with and the projects you undertook and the failures, the trying things and learning from that. And so, yeah, I think that just goes along with what you were saying, Harrison, of don't rush and just really embrace that this time will hold a lot of value and growth if you're open-minded to it, and just being open to kind of ending up somewhere different than you thought you would be. And you can really only find out what you want out of life, what you want out of your career by trying things and getting involved. And it doesn't have to be the most dramatic thing ever. Like, you don't need to have a packed schedule of extracurriculars, but maybe set yourself a goal of, in your first semester, you're going to sign up for one thing outside of the classroom and then go from there.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely start slowly, because you don't want to overwork yourself as well, right?
Yes.
As like working with the Center for Career and Personal Development, and even as a co-op student, what's been like your favorite part? Like, I know you kind of talked about being able to see students taking initiative and stuff like that, but if there could be anything, what would be your favorite part?
I think mine would just be like getting to talk to students every day. So I work at the Life Design Hub. That's where my desk is, and it's more front facing. So I get to interact with students every day and talk to them every day. And it's like a good conversation most of the time, where they just ask me questions about what I do, or like what the CCPD does and what they could do to interact with us more. And I think just seeing how open students are to new opportunities once they're at university, I think that's one of the best things that I've seen.
For sure. You definitely get to meet a lot of different people from different degrees and stuff, and get a lot of different perspectives.
Yeah, even alumni, they come back and they just like have a whole conversation with me about what they're doing. So it's like, it's always fun.
So a big thing for each week is seeing those students and finding out their stories. So it's always interesting to learn what our students are doing in their degrees, their projects, their experiences, their everyday classes, because that's how I find out, and that's how we can talk about what they can talk about within those interviews. This is going to sound weird, but if I could bottle up the feeling of getting that message from a student saying that they recently got a job, whether they're a new grad or a recent co-op, I hope I would be able to sell that, because it's just awesome to hear that, hey, what you said really helped me, or what we worked on really helped me get that interview, get that job, so on and so forth.
For sure, yeah. Knowing you had an impact on like even one student's life is amazing to have.
Our CCPD team, I feel like everyone is really passionate about the work and helping, and so if you're ever like nervous to come to a workshop or set up an appointment with an advisor, there has never been, in the many years I've worked in this area, a single person that wouldn't be like a real delight to meet with and work with, and that wants to help and support you and go the extra mile. And there's just no one clocking in and clocking out. Everyone is like, this is a calling to help support and be there for students and create meaningful experiences and programming. So I think no matter where you start, whoever you interact with, I think you'll have a really positive, supportive experience.
Yeah, that's
beautiful
awesome.
Pivot.
Thank you guys. Is there anything else you'd like to share or include for future and prospective students at all?
After all that, I want to say, like, take a breath. You get a lot of information, and, you know, when if you come on campus, then in orientation, you'll feel even more overwhelmed with information. And so I think really just the takeaway is just to, I would say, embrace some reflection in your life and just take time to kind of think about, what do I want out of this experience? What am I hoping for? What are my goals? And then making a plan to access resources and support in order to be able to work on those goals. And yeah, don't get overwhelmed, don't get stressed, but just know there's a lot out there for you, and a lot of staff and folks on campus who really want to support you and make this really positive experience.
Another thing that I want to stress is that don't feel that you need to get everything done in one session, in one workshop with us. Like, our doors are always open. Feel free to book follow-up appointments with us, because there's just so much to talk about when it comes down to careers and life design. So don't feel that you need to rush that information gathering process.
Thank you so much for coming in. I think this will be amazing for future students to hear and to learn about the Center for Career and Personal Development, because I know when I first started, I didn't really know about you guys at all, so I think this is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Season 9 of the Choose UCalgary podcast. Remember to follow us on Instagram at choose.ucalgary and Facebook at UCalgaryFS to stay up to date on all things UCalgary for future students. DM if you have any questions, and stay tuned for the next episode.